Good afternoon. This is your Governor, Albert Bryan Jr., with your daily update on what's happening with coronavirus in our territory. We're happy to report that since our last numbers, things have remained solid at 30 positive findings in the territory. Right now, we have a total of 201 tests that have been conducted by the Department of Health. 30 of those, as I said before, are positive, while we have 130 tests that have come back negative. And we still right now have 41 tests that are pending, waiting for the results by the Department of Health. We're happy to report that we have begun testing in the territory. Our lab is up and fully functional at this point, and we're able to get results now in 24 hours or less. We have received extra media, an extra 500 tests, which is allowing us now to test people at a more rapid rate and be able to identify and track down people who may have come in contact with people who have tested positive for coronavirus. We're also happy to report that we received another shipment of personal protective equipment from the national stockpile. We're expecting to see more of that coming as the weeks go by, and our testing capacity expanded as well. And while most of us are doing really well in terms of our quarantining, we are still seeing people on the beaches. We realize that people coming to the islands have really no way of knowing what kind of information is out there. So we're going to use a series of sound trucks to try to get out the word more relevantly and more profusely in the community so that people can know that we are under a state of emergency here in the Virgin Islands. We are asking the public once again to not have barbecues, picnics, to go to the beach unless you really have to stay away from those beaches so that we can maintain proper social distancing at all times because we just can't afford for the community spread in our community. Yesterday, we had a review of our sites on both islands by the Army Corps of Engineers, and we're making all the necessary arrangements and assessments now to decide what type of additional hospital resources that we need. We're on a coronavirus task force call every morning at 8:10, where we're joined by many of the professionals who are at the front lines of fighting this virus. And we're happy to report now that both hospitals are in good shape and we have no coronavirus victims documented positive in the hospital receiving care at this time. We have ample support of protective equipment at this time to the point where we'll be distributing some more of that out to our police officers and to our first responders who are coming into contact with the public on a daily basis. We still have no significant community spread, whereas people are contracting the virus from other people in the community who they are not aware of. Yesterday, we had a long conversation with Hovensa, Lime Tree, to make sure that they're taking every single precaution in letting people into that refinery and identifying and screening people who may have come in contact with people from the virus. There are no more shipments of people coming into the territory for that project until further notice, and anyone who comes back from vacation or working in there is subject to a 14-day quarantine. We're trying to keep the information flowing between them and us. We have a weekly meeting with the regional administrator, Tom Van Essen. We've fixed that today. We had that today where we were joined by some of our coronavirus task force individuals. Our talks with FEMA are going well at this point. We still are assessing needs and how we'll get them here in the Virgin Islands. We seem to have become a victim of our own preemptiveness because we don't have a major crisis in our islands at this time. It's a little bit more difficult in convincing people that we need to have these resources immediately. We're doing our best to make sure that our community stays as coronavirus free as possible, but at the same time, we're working with FEMA officials to make sure that we have the necessary preparations on the ground should we have a surge. At this point, like I said, our hospitals are in good shape. Our response medical personnel protective equipment, everything is in good shape. All we're asking the public is to continue to be vigilant, continue to stay at home. It's very easy. Watch as much Netflix as you want, but stay at home. Only go out to the grocery store or medical unless absolutely necessary. And I want the public to start thinking about this long holiday coming up, Easter. Try to make sure and outfit yourself so that you don't have to go out at all during this time. At this time, we're really looking at how we do that in a way that would allow people to stay at home, maybe even having a couple of days where no one goes out at all. So start preparing yourself in terms of being able to be prepared for that. Should we see any escalation in any way of the virus in our community, those are some of the measures that we're just thinking about in order to keep you and your family safe. We are also considering at this time measures to look at whether or not we're going to be allowing beautician and barbers to be able to go out on a appointment basis only. That is something that we're looking at as we look at the April 30th deadline. It's going to be a longer time that we're going to be locked in. So at this point, we haven't made any decisions as yet, but by Friday we'll have a firm decisions on whether we're going to allow grooming, personal grooming professionals to be able to conduct basis on a limited basis only. That's most of what we have for now. We're hoping that you continue to stay safe and be safe and sanitized for you and your family. And God bless you and keep you, and God bless the Virgin Islands. Thank you so much.